Hello guys and welcome, it is ThatSrb2DUDE here today bringing you yet another Splatoon 2 video. Now today I would like to talk about a weapon in Splatoon 2 of course, that desperately needs a buff because it's so sad to see a weapon that used to be so great, I guess in the previous game, and now in the next game it's just like because it just doesn't have a place at all considering certain things such as Stingray. And the weapon I'm talking about, of course you can probably tell from the title, is the Elita 4K. Now back in Splatoon 1, the Elita 3K was somewhat known to be one of the strongest snipers in the game for basically one reason. It had a couple different factors to it that made it so strong of course, but it was only for one reason. And that was because of the perk that was in Splatoon 1, Damage Up. Damage Up was a stackable perk in Splatoon 1 where you could increase the amount of damage that you output from each type of ink pellet that you, I guess, produce from your weapon. For a charges case, basically you would be able to half charge and 3/4 charge, all that type of stuff. It's basically what they buffed the GooTuber with. They buffed it with Damage Up, and now that weapon can do a 3/4 charge. Now the Elita 3K was so strong because of Damage Up. It had the potential to perform 100 damage at half charge, which was insane because the half charge was pretty much the same range as the Splatterscope back then, pretty much making the Splatterscope obsolete if it didn't wear Damage Up at all. Another thing that made the Elita 3K so strong back in Splatoon 1 is because of the range it did have. It was the weapon that had the longest range in that game, and if you paired Damage Up with it, it was just completely broken because it didn't have the full charge ever. Now hear me out on this. In Splatoon 1, no one ran an Elita without Damage Up. They just didn't. Because if you run an Elita without Damage Up back in that day, basically you would have to full charge every shot, so the time taken for you to actually get a kill was much longer. Adding like one main or two mains of Damage Up pretty much cuts the time in half, which made the time to kill for an Elita back then much faster. So looking at Splatoon 2 now, we have an Elita that doesn't have the range that it used to have, but at the same killing time as the Elita with no Damage Up in Splatoon 1. And when you think about it, it's not really that fair that this weapon has been hit this hard. Because you look at other things in Splatoon 2, like Stingray, and basically just the regular Splatterscope. First of all, the range of the regular Splatterscope is not far off from what the Elita can produce. And you have things like Stingray, which can shoot from one side of the map to the other and move it across the map. And just by these two things, it completely makes the Elita obsolete. Like, I understand that they thought the range may have been broken, but if when you think about it, it really wasn't. It was the damage that enabled the range to be broken. I feel like if the Elita in Splatoon 2 had the same range that it did in Splatoon 1, it would fit. It would have some sort of place where you can actually use it. Because it doesn't really make much sense to say the Elita was broken because of its range when you look at the Stingray and say, nah, that's completely fine. I mean, they're both basically the same thing, except the Stingray has a lot more mobility and range until infinity. So honestly, in my opinion, the range for the Elita 4K should be buffed. Make it like how it was in Splatoon 1. Just don't give it extra damage. It's not needed. Because if they did, that'll make the Elita broken. All they need to do, increase the range. Don't change the charge time, just increase the range. Just make it a little bit longer, and that should be it, honestly. So, yep, that's pretty much my opinion of what I feel like needs to be done to the Elita. There should be a patch coming out this month. We have not had any word of it, but we're almost halfway through the month, so probably coming soon. And hopefully the Elita gets some justice out of that. But anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please, if you did, please like, favorite, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch, both in the description below. Do it for both if you're feeling generous. And as always, guys, this has been ThatSrb2DUDE, and I shall see you guys in a future video.